hope you're well and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another wedding video for you. These are going down so well on my channel, and I have one that I've been thinking about doing for so long, and I'm so pleased I can finally share some information with you guys and some tips. Today's video is going to be about how to do a wedding on a budget. You get engaged, it's all very happy, very exciting, and then you start to book venues, go for wedding dress shopping, booking things, and you start to see your money just disappear. Before your eyes, your money just floats away. Unfortunately, as much as we would all love to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on a wedding, it's just not really reality. Some of us can't afford that. Some of us don't want to spend that much on one day of our lives. I know that was especially what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on one day of my life. But obviously I wanted nice things and I wanted my day to be perfect and how I wanted it. So it's quite hard to find the balance in between, but luckily enough for you guys, on my phone I have some tips. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's see how we can save some money on this wedding. So the first thing we did to save some money, which actually saved quite a lot, was make our own invites. Both me and Chris are both graphic designers, so we find this quite easy. Obviously not everyone has the kind of skills to make invites or knows where to start with this kind of thing, but it can definitely save you some money. We basically designed our own invites on InDesign, which is kind of like a graphic design program, but anyone can use it. It's basically like the graphic design version of Photoshop. You can design them on Photoshop. I wouldn't advise to use Paint, but again, Adobe, if you're used to Photoshop or InDesign, you can definitely create your own. It's really good to go on Shutterstock for images. You can buy these images, they're quite cheap, or you can obviously search on Google, or you can draw your own if you're into drawing. Or we actually had a kind of photo on our invites that Chris actually took. So if you're into photography, you can also use that on your own invites. It can be to your style, and the printing is really, really cheap. So we used printed or printing.com. I'll leave the link below. I think it's printing.com to print ours, and I think it cost about £50, £60 to have 70 invites printed, I think. The only mistake I made is that I paid for double, because obviously I paid for 70 invites, but most of our people coming to our wedding are couples, so I only needed to buy one. So always remember to half down the invites or order a little bit less than your actual total count, if that makes sense. So I could have ordered 40 invites and still been safe. So I did pay for a bit more than I needed, and I now have a massive box full of them. You can buy a bulk load of envelopes on Amazon and eBay for £3. So it's definitely a cheaper way of doing it, and I actually quite enjoyed doing our invites with Chris. It was quite a nice thing to do. But obviously there's loads of sellers out there. My friend actually designs wedding invites as well. She's got an Etsy shop, so I'll leave that down below. So another one is one that I did toy with, but in the end I decided not to, but you can do your own hair and makeup on the day. I have plenty of friends that have got married and they've done their own makeup, and they've used YouTube as inspiration. So you can go on YouTube, type in wedding makeup, and there's thousands of tutorials. I would suggest, if you are going to do your own hair and makeup, make sure you set a few months in advance some practice time. I would do bridal makeup on yourself every weekend or every evening, just to get that routine going and to get your skills up to scratch, because you don't want to be stressed on your wedding day. I would say if you're having something very simple for your hair, like if you want it down or curled, definitely you can do that yourself. If you do want more of a updo that's quite braidy and needs a lot of work, definitely pay for someone to get your hair done. But your makeup you can definitely do on your own, especially if on your day you want to look like you. Doing your own makeup is probably the best way to go about that. Another way to save money is to have a family member that's good at baking make your cake. We actually had our cake made. It was very expensive, and in the grand scheme of things, looking back, I probably would get someone else to do it and get a family member to make it. If your family members aren't good at doing big cakes, you can get them to make little tiny cupcakes that you can put on a stand. Again, I had a friend that had that at her wedding, and it looked really, really nice with just a smaller cake on the top. It's actually quite fashionable now to have a family member make a cake. I wish I had thought about this, because I would have saved a lot of money. But yeah, if you do, or if you want to bake, you can always bake a cake. I know with naked cakes, which don't have icing on, they're just literally naked, it's a really good idea to freeze those. So you could freeze it and then defrost it on the day, and it's good to go. Just make sure, if you are doing your own cake, if you do want some flowers on it, to pre-book them with your florist or pop them on yourself. But yeah, you can definitely save a lot of money from your wedding cake. And to be quite honest, the wedding cake on the day is like the least important thing, I think. It's not really that important anymore, especially if you're more of a modern couple. Like, I didn't really see the point of cutting the cake. Like, we did it for tradition, but it was a bit of a weird thing to do. So yeah, definitely cut the costs with the cake. So the next one is something that I did, and I'm so pleased I did it because my dresses were amazing, and that is buy high street bridesmaid dresses. Now, I think some people like sneer their nose up at this because they think you have to have designer dresses, you have to spend like hundreds and hundreds of pounds on your bridesmaids. You don't, not at all. I was more happy with my bridesmaid dresses than anything I'd seen at higher price range. Mine were from ASOS. They were from Maya Boutique, which you can find on ASOS. I'll leave the link to them below. I have done a wedding post all about this over on my blog as well, so I'll leave the link to that below as well, because I've linked some other alternatives that I think are really nice. But definitely have a browse on ASOS. My bridesmaid dresses were, I think, £80 each, which in the grand scheme of things, like, that could have been a lot more. I could have spent like double on them each, and I think they still looked beautiful. They were still comfortable, and the dresses were better than anything else that I'd seen in any magazine, in any TV programme. I was really, really happy with them. So if you're prepared to have a little shop around, be a bit patient, try and kind of wait for sizes to come back in stock and all that jazz, then definitely go with the high street. You can save yourself a lot of money. And then also, if you're not so bothered about having a designer wedding dress, you can also buy your wedding dress on the high street now. I know places like ASOS do them, Monsoon do them, where else? I think H&M do some. I know Topshop recently started doing like a bridal range as well. There's so many high street shops now that are doing these bridal dresses, and if you do want something a bit floaty, a bit bohemian, a little bit different, then definitely check out some high street shops, because some of those dresses, like, you wouldn't even find that in a wedding shop. Like, they're really, really unique and different. And I think if I didn't find my dress, I might have gone down that route perhaps, but obviously mine was designer. I did love my dress, but I decided that since I spent a little bit less on everything else, then I would go for a bit more on myself. But if it's something that you don't want to spend, you don't want to spend like £1,000 on your wedding dress for one day, definitely check out the high street, because I assure you, you can find some good ones. In fact, I know you can. I'm so confident that you can find some good dresses on the high street. I will leave some links below to ones that I love. I'm that confident there's loads on there. As well, you can go high street for your suits. Chris's suits and the usher's suits were from Mossbros, I never know how to say it, and they were quite cheap. We actually bought them outright because it was cheaper to buy them than it was to rent, which I think says quite a lot. £170, everything thrown in, but again, that included trousers, waistcoats, ties and jackets. We did ask the ushers and obviously Chris to buy their own white shirts and brown shoes, because those things aren't as important. They all look the same anyway. But yeah, I thought that was really good, and they all have a suit now. So we basically bought them all a suit. And lastly, the one thing that I saved loads of money on was doing my own place names and signage around the venue. So for my place names, I actually bought a stamping kit from eBay. I am going to do a blog post on this, so I'm not going to give it away or show you exactly what I did, but check out my blog because it'll be on there soon. I'm going to show you a step-by-step thing of how I did it. But I bought a stamping kit, and I bought some little wooden hearts, and I basically stamped every single person's name on the hearts, put a little bag full of chocolates in, which my mum helps me with, and that was the place names done. A super cheap and easy way. I think the stamping kit was like £15 from eBay, if that, and the little hearts I got on wholesalers, so they were super cheap as well. So that was a really, really good way of doing it, and I liked the rustic look, I liked the stamping, it worked really well with our kind of theme of the day. And then I also bought a really cheap chalkboard from Amazon, which is actually amazing quality, and I bought a chalk pen, and I just like wrote little signs everywhere. Like, I looked on Pinterest, got some ideas, and copied some kind of typography on there, and it was such a cheap way of doing it. Like, I printed out signs for the pick and mix, and I basically didn't buy like one sign for the whole day, and it was really, really nice to kind of DIY and do it myself. And actually I really, really enjoyed it, and it didn't cost hardly anything, so that was really good. So guys, I hope that helped some of you that are planning a wedding on a budget. I will be doing a blog post in more depth on this, as well as like DIY things. I'm working on loads of blogs, and I'm sure my blog post will extend over June, because I've got wedding month over there at the moment, so I'm sure I will go further than June. But if there's any other wedding videos you would like to see, then please do write them below in the comments, and I will get those going because I love talking about weddings now that I feel I can like discuss things in more depth with you guys. Have got any money saving tips as well that I didn't mention in this video, make sure you leave them below for other people and me because I'm quite interested. I'd love to hear how you saved money on your wedding day as well. If you're not already, please do hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of my videos, and if you're already subscribed, then I'll see you again in my next video. Have a lovely day, and yay for weddings. Weddings are so exciting. I'm so jealous. If any of you guys are getting married, please enjoy it because it goes by so fast, and I'm so jealous now that I have to talk about weddings but I can't actually get married because I'm already married. It's really depressing after your wedding. This is why I'm like dragging out the content, because it's nice to talk about it again. But yeah, so hopefully you can save some money on your day. But yeah, if you did get married, send me your pictures, I want to see. But yeah, anyway guys, see you later. Bye. Mwah.